dust is in my eyes, my blood is on the ground. Quiet little chuckle and the shuffling of the boots of the coward that shot me down. He turns toward the sunrise and I hear him softly say, I guess you've met your macho man, as the colors fade to gray.
Howdy, partners. Dust and Blood is a rabble-rousing, rootin'-tootin', bronco-bustin' podcast not suitable for the ears of youngins. Take a gander at the content warnings and listen with care.
Welcome to Dust and Blood, a narrative play podcast set in the wild, weird fantasy west. I'm Blake, your GM, and our players are Keith Curtis as Jasper Graves, Corinne Hill as Myra Sting, Zach Parker as Moz Copernicus Pryor, and Gail Parker as Bonesaw. Last time on Dust and Blood, our heroes met for the first time in Ravenspine and banded together to stop outlaw centaur Carter Sutton's daring escape. While Leighton distracts Carter's gang, the group has been hired to help Pinkerton Avery Hodges bring Carter to Perdition, where he'll hang for crimes against the railroad. It's later in the same day. Leighton and the sheriff have gone out of town in the other direction. You see Leighton putting down some magic, giving you guys a little bit of cover for your escape, hopefully long enough to distract the gang that's in the area from following you. And see, good to know. You all start making your way out of town. The road north, it's a small road. This isn't commonly traversed as of right now. While the trail itself is fairly clear, there's some washed out areas. It's clear that this winter has been very hard on this track. It hasn't really had a chance to get cleaned up throughout the year. It is still end of January, so winter is very much still going on. Carter has been put in fetters, so he's only able to move at about a trot. He's not able to do a full sprint or even much of a gallop. And Hodges is just riding right next to him, gun pointed right at Carter.
Jasper is sitting in a pool of slightly magical shadow atop the coach. He's made himself a comfortable little seat up there and all the stuff that's tied to the top. So he's got a little bit of cover in case somebody says, hey, look, there's a target sitting on top of that. He's playing the harmonica.
Moz is probably going to be riding on his little pony, Tumble, because they wouldn't let me ride a warhorse, so I'll be riding alongside it.
Myra's probably... She does have a horse, but she'd probably be better off on the wagon. I imagine that she's sitting like up front, literally shotgun next to whoever's driving, and she's half thinking of shooting the harmonica out of Jasper's hand because it's starting to get a little bit... Just a little bit annoying, but she's not going to say anything. She's just going to kind of grit her teeth and just...
I haven't even started singing yet.
Bonesaw, I think, is steering the horses. I think he enjoys having a riding buddy up front.
I think Myra's also kind of looking at Bonesaw, trying to kind of find out what he is. Trying not to be rude, but every now and then Bonesaw will catch her kind of like staring... like at the mask, to see beneath it.
Well, you're a crack shot if I ever met one. Where did you learn to shoot?
My pa. My pa and my ma both, really. They're both, good shots with a gun.
Your father, he said he worked for the railroad?
Yeah. Yeah, he did. But, all sorts of interesting stuff you got in the back there. So what kind of, where do you get this stuff? And she just kind of looks back into the wagon to see all the stuff that they're carrying around.
Oh, a little here,
Did you steal this?
Steal it? What do you take me for? Some kind of thief?
Myra kind of like stares but doesn't say anything.
The origins of the items in the cart are legal for the most part.
Jasper, give me a perception check.
Well, I certainly will here.
From your vantage point, you have a pretty good view of the valley that Ravenspine is in, looking up at the skeleton. And as you're looking, you get a good sense of the lay of the land. You know which direction everybody's going, and most importantly, you see off to the southwest of town the big dust cloud that's being kicked up as you guys are making your stealthy escape. And from what you can see, it is very far away, but you notice that it appears to be a small group on horses that appear to be watching this big dust cloud. It's like right on the edge of your perception. If they weren't so bad at hiding, you're pretty sure that you would have missed them. But they're on the horizon, and they definitely do not appear to be tracking your guys' movements.
Alrighty. Then, as he's playing the harmonica, he's gonna briefly pull it down. He says, I don't want you to make a big fuss while you're driving, and don't call attention to yourself while you do. But if you were to cast your eyes up to that ridge there, you'll see there's some critters
Jasper,
watching
that doesn't even
on
rhyme.
you.
And then it
I haven't heard that one before. That's an interesting tune. Does Moz pick up on the message?
Moz is busy talking to the sheriff. Privately.
Maybe try again, Jasper. And maybe we'll pick it up this
You're too clever for it.
I can see that you're subtle and you are not looking. But if you were to cast your eyes up and to the left, you will see there's some people watching us from that ridge there.
That ridge there.
And that's all I gotta say, because I can't think of a rhyme for left.
Left.
I gotta say his course is a little off.
Oh,
Aw, dang it, fiddlesticks. Cast your eyes up and to the left. We got people watching us.
Oh, why didn't you
shit.
say so?
Carter, you see, is just laughing under his breath. It's just like, oh, this is going to be a fun trip. I know it. And Hodge just says, not going to be fun for you by the end of this. Moz, what you saying to the sheriff?
I gotta say, I don't like his voice much. He could really use some fiddle in there.
Ribbit.
My thoughts exactly. Hey, would you quiet down there?
Ribbit.
Well, everybody's a critic. You got yourself a fiddle there, son. Why don't you use it?
My hands are tired. Been using them all day.
Make a will save, Moz.
Ah, shit.
Spicy.
A 9. Moz, it sounds like you're being challenged. You can't say no to a challenge. You can't say no to a challenge. Can you?
Dun, dun, dun.
I cannot, no. In that case, I am going to pull out my fiddle and try and not exactly compliment, more like overbear on his performance. Little less words, a little more fine style. Trying to drown out his music.
Both of you give me a perform check.
Oh, yeah. Watch out, buddy. Got one rank in this.
Jasper comes in with a very good 16. You're playing this harmonica, and it's pretty good. Like, despite all of the critics, it's pretty good. But Moz
Moz is simply the best.
Moz simply is the best, and starts playing a tune on his fiddle with a 27, and it lets out just this screech that you feel like it should sound bad, but it somehow complements the music of the fiddle just perfectly. And it's like, it is a fantastic fiddle solo. And by the end of it, it's just like, holy shit.
Jasper will very carefully stand up on the rocking wagon, face Moz, take off his hat, and bow.
what a gentleman.
That's what I thought, old man.
Should do that more often.
Hodges turns around and growls at you all and says, "We're trying to make a stealthy escape, if you don't mind."
And I'm trying to defend my honor. Simmer down.
Carter says, Yes, the rat folk was just trying to defend his honor. You can't fault him for that. You know all about honor, don't... And just smacked across the back of the skull with the butt of Hodge's gun. He says, all right, very well.
Well, seeing as we're riding out of town on this here three-ring circus, I don't know if we can be too stealthy.
Hodges says, don't remind me. Just hope that that damn snake is up to it with his little magic tricks. Oh, don't worry. I'm sure that everything will be fine. You're all just taking a man to be killed for crimes that, well, I was going to say crimes that I didn't commit, but I did commit a lot of them. Not all of them. Some of them. But anyway.
Well, as far as I know, we're not taking you to be killed, sir. We're taking you to be judged. It's the judge who's going to have to say we're going to kill you. Well, when I say we, I mean right-thinking folk.
Avery just growls under his breath. If I have anything to say about it, this horse is going to hang. He is not going to get away with this again. No judge couldn't convict him with all the evidence we have. Carter looks back at you, Myra, and gives you a bit of a look based on the conversation that you had earlier before you left town. Let's flash back to that conversation. This is before you guys have left, making preparations to leave town.
This is when everyone else is out around shopping, and she sits down at a table kind of across from him, and she's fiddling with the little token in her hands, like kind of flipping it forwards and backwards while she's looking at Carter. She says, so, you said you hurt people that more or less deserved it?
I reckon most of them. I try not to hurt people that I don't have to. But some people, they get in my way too much. I'm not gonna pretend I'm something I'm not.
She flashes the token and she says, do you know what this is? It is a sheriff's badge, but it's got a bullet hole through it.
To mark that down on my Wild West bingo card.
Oh, shit. Carter looks at it and says, is that from some lawman that I shot? Did I shoot your pappy and you're coming for some old-fashioned revenge?
No, I know what happened to my pappy and it wasn't you. No, I think, believe it or not, we have a similar kind of ideal in this world. Sometimes peace doesn't really cut it. I just want to know if you're the kind of person that truly did defend himself, or someone who frankly deserves to be 6 feet under.
Carter, he's still in the jail cell, and he leans against the bars, giving you a serious look and says, I ain't a good person if that's what you're asking. I killed folk. I've killed plenty of people. Most of them deserved it. Some of them probably not. I try to be who I try to take care of those that I care about, and I try to be... I don't kill people who don't get in my way and don't need to worry about it.
She flips the token back in her vest and she goes, well, here's the skinny of it. Basically, I don't care if you get arrested or hanged. I think this world is cruel and random enough where those kind of rules are not so righteous as what people think. So here's the skinny of it. I will escort you, and I will help escort you, and I will attempt to catch you if you try to run. But I'm not going to put in that much of an effort. So if it comes to a position where you're going to kill in order to escape, then I'll get out of your way.
He leans up against the bars. What's your name?
Name's Myra.
Nice to meet you, Myra.
Yeah.
I think that I like you.
You don't know me, pal. And I don't know you.
I know that somebody who's willing to be straightforward with me is somebody that I like. At this point, Hodges comes bursting in and interrupts the conversation, and we return to the present. The look that Carter gives you is just this rueful smile after getting clocked in the head by Hodges again. His hands are also in shackles. He points at you with his fingers in the shape of a gun and just kind of gives you a wink.
Finger guns. Excellent.
You make your way, traveling a good distance. You make a decent amount of time, about what you'd expect, before the sun goes down, and you're quite a few miles outside of Ravenspine. The dust cloud was going in the opposite direction. Based on what Jasper saw, nobody seemed to be following you. It's nighttime for you all to make camp and get a chance to rest and relax. You find a little place, a little area. It's far enough away that even the late night firelight from the town is not visible. You're some 20 miles outside of town. This is the big question. Who brought rations?
I did.
Thought I had them on my sheet.
I have 5 days worth.
All right. Here's the other big question. Did anybody bring anything for Carter to eat? Or Avery?
I do have, like, horse feed.
Just about to say that.
And you called me racist.
Sorry, that was very in-game racist. Definitely.
I mean, I do have trail rations, but, like, do I have to share?
You don't have to. And in fact, as you've set up camp, gotten around, and they're making food, Avery says, "No need to feed the prisoner. Better to keep him underfed and a little bit weak for what we need."
Oh, I've got some. That's all right. I'm sure we'll run into a town or something. We're taking the road. Or maybe, can any of you shoot things? Like wildlife, the eating kind?
I reckon I can help with that, but I got myself a 5-pound bag of pinto beans here.
Cooked or dry?
Well, dry, of course. They wouldn't last too long if they was cooked. Dang fool question.
Second question, can anyone cook? I'm sure you've all heard the phrase, cooking is chemistry. But I don't know chemistry. I know alchemy, so things might come out a bit strange if I... But I can give it a shot if no one has experience. It can't be that hard. Little water, little fire.
Carter raises his hand and says, "Well, I have a bit of experience cooking for..." And Hodges just, "No, you're not touching that food."
Bonesaw looks disappointed.
Does anybody want to cook a communal meal?
Can I, like, roll survival?
Yeah, you can roll survival.
Oh, no. Oh, it's bad, folks.
Oh, man.
Lord.
It's possibly poison.
Can I make some suggestions there?
Myra's throwing in all sorts of grass and tumbleweed and stuff and, like, making this nasty-looking soup.
I'm going to say it's going to consume 2 of your trail rations to make this communal food.
Okay.
With that 5. Anybody can eat from it, but it is not good, and it is not very sustaining.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you, Myra.
I don't suppose you brought salt.
Here, I can help serve.
She pours and is, like, helping pass around. She's like, this is the best soup you'll ever have in your life. She loves this shit. She thinks it's the best stuff ever because she doesn't know better. And I guess it's great for Lamia. Maybe Lamia like it.
Yeah, it is definitely slivery and not great.
I think Moz is just gonna try and secretly eat his own trail rations and not grab them.
Yeah, I would recommend people, if you don't want things to turn bad, you might want to eat your own.
Bonesaw scoops out a bowl. Avery, would you like some? Yummy soup! Don't be rude.
Avery goes and holds out a hand for a bowl. Make a sleight of hand check.
Ooh, 12.
Let me roll for Avery. Avery takes it, and he grabs a spoonful, and he's just about to eat it. Then he looks in the bowl, and he drops the spoon in. And he turns to you, Bonesaw. Says, "Now who would I be to take somebody else's meal? Would you like this? Or shall I give it to Carter?"
Oh no, that's alright. I'll take it. Bonesaw quickly swaps the bowls. Well, this has been lovely, but it's Alonesaw time for Bonesaw time! Alone time for bone time! I said what I said. Don't follow me. He starts backing towards the cart, and he opens the back. Toodaloo! He closes it behind him.
Hodges is staring at you the entire time. He's holding the new bowl that you gave him, and he is just glaring daggers at the cart. He turns to look at you, Myra and Jasper. He considers for a second and under his breath says, "Keep an eye on that one."
I've been doing that, but I think you're being a little paranoid.
We swap to inside the cart. How are you dealing with this stew that you just took?
Well, I'm not going to eat it. I'm going to shove it in a drawer to dispose of later and eat some trail rations instead. I think he's only going to stay in there for long enough to eat.
What order do y'all want to take watches in?
I'll take first watch.
I'll get second.
I think I should be on either end. I do have to make some little potions and things first thing in the morning. So I could be last.
Sounds good to
Hodges
me.
looks at you, Bonesaw, and says, "I prefer going in the mornings too. I'll join you."
Wonderful.
Sounds about right.
That'll be great.
Everybody give me a perception check.
16?
30?
Go ahead and give me a stealth check, Moz.
Okay.
We're all so sneaky, and I love it. Everybody's whispering.
As you all are getting around for sleep, everybody notices Moz is curled up in his sleeping bag with the sheriff, and you all hear a weird noise. You're not entirely sure what it is. It's a sound. And then you hear a... And that's it. Who had first watch again?
Jasper called it.
Give me a perception check. Okay. Nothing happens that you see during your shift. Myra, okay. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Man, having that 30 would have been super nice.
Damn!
Oh, I'll take that. Okay.
In the distance, you see some jackrabbits running through the low bush. That's about it, though. Moz? With a 27 perception, the night is quiet. You don't notice anything out of the ordinary. And then for the final shift, early in the morning, Bonesaw and Avery.
19? Also, what's the vibe?
I'm about to tell you what the vibe is. With the 19, you very easily see as Hodges comes stalking over to you and grabs you by the front of your jacket and pulls you in close.
Oh, hello. Are we getting to know each other?
Oh, I think we're going to know each other very well. I don't know what game you're playing. Bet you thought that I wouldn't notice. Little thing you slipped in. Probably thought I'd blame the snake for it. If you pull something like that again, or if you mess with this collar, I'm going to put you in a hole that you're not going to be able to climb back out of. Got it, you undead fuck.
Don't make too many fun promises at once.
And he drops you.
You might not want to get on my bad side, Avery. I don't like you very much. You might not survive.
Avery just looks at you and says, "Try me." As he's walking away, he brandishes the gun that he took from Carter, that brass with the musical notes on it. And he goes back to his watch.
Making friends.
Carter, by the way, the entire night is just flat out just... The morning rises, everybody gets up, you strike camp. No events happened overnight. It is now the next day, and we're going to start on the random encounter table for your trip up to Perdition. I need somebody to please give me a 1d100 roll.
There you go, sir. 75.
Okay, what do we get?
Please let it be a random pile of gold.
You start making your way north. It's a fairly relaxed day for most of the day. The sun is up in the sky, but you see some clouds on the horizon. The mountains up to your left as you're traveling north. You can actually see up in the distance the path that you might have taken had you not been going along the plains. The road is, for the most part, it's pretty stable, though there's definitely some washed out areas that slow you down a little bit as you're going north. You pick up random dust throughout the day. About 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you guys are riding, and you begin to hear the sound of hooves, thundering hooves. And you see a giant cloud of dust on the horizon.
I'm going to carefully stand up on top of the wagon, pull my hat down so that I can shade the sun, make a real tiny circle with my finger, kind of see if I can figure out what that is in the distance.
Give me a perception check.
Okay.
Excellent. You recognize what this is. This is a cattle drive going across the plains. And you see it is just thousands of cattle. They probably came up north. They're actually making a bit of an angle, not going in the same direction as you. They're crossing your path. It doesn't look like it's anything out of the ordinary, just a massive cattle drive that it'll take a while for it to pass by. Probably a couple of hours of you guys just sitting and relaxing. You can talk a little bit. You can get closer if you want to see, kind of what the deal is with it. You actually don't see any people on horses. It appears that all of the cowboys that are riding around are all centaurs.
Alrighty. As I'm standing there, I'll say, well, looks like we got ourselves a cattle drive up here, so it's going to be a bit of a spell before we can move on. Looks like we got a whole bunch of, I guess there's centaurs out there driving the herd. Might be worthwhile to send somebody out there and see if they've seen any sight or sound of our guests' compadres.
Oh, I'd be willing to go. I could walk up and talk with my people. That's how that. And what he.
That's might neighborly of you, but I think no.
He says, "Can't blame a horse for trying, can you?" Hodges says, "Oh, we most certainly can." I think that's another count of attempted escape that we can tack on. Wouldn't you all agree?
I don't think that counts.
No, not really.
I think if that were sufficient to actually go free, I feel like that's on us.
I don't know. I think if you were to charge fellas on talking big, we'd have a whole lot of more folk in jail.
Oh,
Jasper.
delightful.
Yeah.
Perhaps that's not a bad idea.
Just any of the more normal-looking people want to go.
I'll ride back to town and see if I can find any.
You mean two undead or
What do you mean normal?
Well, that's fair.
or the rat folk?
Just kidding. Okay, Myra's gonna get on the horse with her weird exotic saddle, and she's gonna go up and talk to the cattlemen.
Okay, anybody going with her?
I'd like to ride up and hang back. Hold on just a second. I'll walk behind the wagon and lead Smokey out from behind somewhere. I got my rifle in a real relaxed position across my lap.
I'll guard the wagon. Good luck, you two.
About how much distance is in between the wagon and the cattle drive?
Probably about half a mile from where you started to see the dust.
Might be a good idea not to get too close with the wagon. This here wagon is louder than a cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Might spook the cattle if we got too close. But yeah, Miss Myra, if you want to do the talking, I'll hang back and I'll just keep a weather eye out on things.
All right, sounds good. I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
Get along, Smokey.
You both ride forward to get close to kind of where all of the cattle are. It's obviously because there's a lot of them and they're taking up a wide swath. And as you get close, you start hearing the cattlemen yelling and talking to each other like, "Hey, got Straddle off the right. All right, I'm gonna go get him. I got him. All right, keep it together. Move him. No, Johnson. Left side. Johnson. God darn. Johnson, Let's go back and learn his left from his right.
Myra's gonna go bother the least busy of the herders.
It's this very tall draft horse style centaur. It looks like he's the boss, just buff as all hell, straining against the shirt that he's wearing.
Damn.
He appears to be chewing on some tobacco, and he says, "What can I do for you, little lady?"
Hey, we just wanted to check up and see what was going on here. We're just passing through.
He puts a hand up and looks back towards your wagon and says, "Probably going to be in another couple of hours. Just going through, taking these cattle up to the railway."
Hours.
Yeah, big herd. They're losing them in this area. Maps seem to be a little bit off. Not sure what's going on.
I want to suss this guy out.
You can do a sense motive.
Damn.
A 7, you really can't tell anything about him. He has this taciturn, very relaxed look about him, and he's not giving anything away as you're talking to him. Yeah, you know how it is. The cattle just takes forever.
Myra's gonna turn around and head back to the wagon. She's basically gonna tell Bonesaw, "Listen, I don't think this guy's up to something, but he says that there's a holdup that's gonna last a few hours, and I'm not comfortable with that. So basically, I think we just need to move around best way we can, regardless of how they like it or not. So."
Are you asking me? I don't much care what direction we go. You just point the way, and I'll lead Andrew and William Wallace wherever they need to go.
All right.
Have we been on a trail to this point?
Yeah, you've been on a trail. It's about 3 horses wide. You've been seeing, actually, fairly regularly the survey posts for, presumably, the railroad.
Well, if you folks want to go off the trail, I mean, it's the suspension of your wagon. But I don't know if the surrounding territory is all that conducive to going about on a wheeled conveyance.
We could always make camp for a few hours and just wait for them to pass.
Let me go get my harmonica.
Anybody who wants to, give me a perception check.
13.
Oof. Myra and Jasper, the man that you were talking to, made a gesture to a couple of his other people, and it looks like they've slung rifles, and they're watching you.
It's like they have them at the ready?
Not at the ready, but it's more like they had them in their bags, and now they're on their shoulders.
Myra instantly turns around and goes, "Guys, they drew their guns. Avery."
You see Avery is standing there, and he has his gun leveled at Carter's head.
Whoa, let's
No, hold on!
Let's just help us mitigate this rising tensions.
Easy there, compadre. They're just passing through.
Carter, why don't you tell your friends that if they make any wrong moves, I'm going to blow your fucking head off. Oh, I assure you, these aren't my friends. Not all centaurs know each other, you know. 2 of the centaurs break away and start coming towards the group of you.
Myra comes forward a little bit and she goes, "Don't get too close. Keep your distance, please."
All right, out.
You all hear one of them say to the other, "Es padron Sara Jonas." Does anybody speak Spanish?
Nope.
Aquí.
No, which is Spanish for no.
Jasper, you understand what they say when they say this. The guy says they might be rustlers.
I'd like to ride forward.
Okay.
I will very obviously place my rifle in its scabbard on the saddle and be riding forward with my hands visible. Say, "Good afternoon, gentlemen." And I will say this in Spanish.
Hola. We'll continue the rest of the conversation in English so I stop embarrassing myself. The 2 of them look at you and you say, hola, and they say, "You speak Spanish?"
Yes, sir, I do. Learned it in my youth, and it has come out handy here in the territories. Looks like you folks might be a little bit concerned about our presence here, but I can put you at ease. That feller back there with the 10 miles of bad road all over his face, that there is a Pinkerton agent, and we are escorting that fella back there who is clapped in irons, is a many times over murderer of folk, and we are escorting him to the town of Perdition, where he will be tried and quite probably hanged in the morning, or in the morning after his trial, I suppose.
Give me a diplomacy check.
Alrighty then. Oh, okay.
7.
All right, strap in, folks.
They look at you, they look back at your group, they say, "You folks should stay back for a little bit. Wouldn't want you getting hurt in the cattle." And they ride back to the cattle. A couple of them put away the rifles, But you notice that big guy who Myra initially talked to still has his mean-looking shotgun. Moz, you're playing a little tune?
I am doing a little bit more than that. I am making absolutely certain that Hodges doesn't start some shit, so I am going to pull out my fiddle and stand right in front of his barrel and do a little jaunty tune to make sure that his attention is on me and not them.
Oh boy, that's a will save for him. That would be a nat 20.
Yeah.
You start playing this tone and you're trying to fascinate him. He's holding the gun and you start to play and he looks again and he starts to lower the gun. And as he does, he shakes his head and says, "What the hell are you doing?"
Just a little bit of practice. No sense letting all my talent go to waste.
Roll a bluff for me.
Shit. Ooh! Oh yes, I'm very good at bluffing.
He looks at you and growls under his breath. "Keep that shit away from here. It's distracting."
Will do.
I'll ride back to the group and say, "Well, I talked to them. They didn't seem to believe me much. I even flashed them my most winning smile. And no, did not seem to I think that they're naturally suspicious folk.
They didn't seem suspicious themselves.
No, more like I think that they've got a lot riding on this here cattle drive, and they're probably a bit overcautious about strangers crossing their path. Probably did not help that we had a gun trained on one of their, so to speak, kinfolk."
Well, like Carter said, not all centaurs know each other.
No, and that is a truism.
She kind of looks at Carter to kind of see, like, is Carter, like, trying to make eye contact with the centaurs, like, "Hey, centaur bros, come help me out," or is he just kind of...
Centaur bros.
Give me a sense motive check. 20. Carter, you actually begin to hear him. It sounds like he's whispering stuff to Avery. Like, "Bet you couldn't even hit me with this close. You're such a terrible shot. Oh no, what's the matter? Couldn't get..."
Being a little shit.
Yeah, basically, like, just... What did you use to load that gun? A tinker toy.
Myra relaxes a bit and she's like, "Okay, this doesn't seem to be a problem." She was going to look at Bonesaw and be like, "Yeah, I think we may have to make camp."
Oh, goody! More time for sitting and talking. I just love road trips, don't you? In fact, we could break out a fun bottle of something. Is anyone feeling thirsty?
Sense motive. Nope.
I think even with a 7, you can tell Bonesaw wants to get drunk.
Oh, okay. Innocent that wants to get drunk. Okay.
Now that you mention it, I am a little parched.
And I do not recall that I had my morning coffee, unless you were talking about something else.
Oh, I have a wealth of options.
Carter says, "Well, if you're willing to grant a dying man his request, I would love to have a bit of that."
I did not think anyone was going to allow this, but right on, guys!
You make a temporary camp. Hodges says, "You all can't get drunk. We're transporting a prisoner, a dangerous prisoner, who would shoot you as soon as look at you." And Carter says,
try me.
"Oh, I wouldn't shoot them unless they got in my way." And Hodges, at this point, he's been holding the rifle, and he pulls out the pistol and holds it next to Carter's head and says, "Perhaps I should tell them what you did to your last captor, how you shot him."
Over drinks! Save the good stories! Bonesaw climbs into the back of the wagon, and you hear a great, rattling and thumping and shuffling, and he says, "Does anyone have a favorite?"
I'd like some coffee, black as midnight on a moonless night, maybe about, say a finger's worth.
Coffee, one coffee.
Whiskey on the rocks.
Oh, rocks. We don't... Rocks? What, do you think we have ice out here?
Can I, roll to do magic and make ice or something? I have chill touch. Can I chill whiskey with chill touch?
Yeah, do chill touch.
Yes. Myra, have you got a favorite?
Now that she knows that she can actually have cold drinks, she's going to order the exact same thing. Whiskey on the rocks, or the closest thing to the rocks. She's like, oh, well, shit, sure, I'll have some of that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can only make one of them cold.
Oh,
I've only got one per day. But you two could share a drink if you wanted.
Over my dead body.
fine, I'll go for the warm stuff.
Carter's laughing his ass off, and Hodges just says, I've been saddled with idiots. Why would I...
Oh, you've been saddled with a lot more, but we'll be nice and not get into that. He brings out a chilled glass of whiskey for Moz. A tiny cup. It's not coffee. It's something burnt and black, and it's liquid, but it does not really resemble coffee in any way. And he's got 3 mugs of, I'm going to say Applejack, and he's put a little cinnamon in there for him and Myra and Carter. He doesn't bring anything out for Avery. Though Bonesaw comes out with a drink for himself, you never actually see him remove the mask to drink from it. You might hear some slurping sounds when he goes in to, like, fix other things, but like every time we've stopped for a meal, he always goes into the cart before.
Has the concoction from last night started to smell yet?
I don't think it has quite yet. Hodges sits back. He leans against the wagon, just kind of watching the scene, glancing between you all and the wagon train and back in the direction that you came from, kind of taking up post. Carter says, mighty kind of you. Don't often see folk who are willing to help out a condemned man such as myself.
Figure you can't run as fast when you're drunk.
I'll walk up to Hodges, holding my cup of tar, and I'll say, you seem to have a lot of criticism for the way that we are doing things. Tell me, how would you handle this here particular situation with the cattle?
If it were up to me, we'd tell these folk to stop their drives, make a path, let us get through, continue on our way. We don't have time for this, to be sitting around waiting for his gang to show up, letting him lull you all into a false sense of security. Just because he's nice and, oh, I'm a condemned man, take pity on me. That is a man who deserves no pity for what he has done.
Well, sir, I can tell you've probably never really interacted with the cattle drive. You got about 50,000 head of half-ton beef on legs out there. They don't really take to the word stop, or could you make a path between. My advice, sir? You need a little more patience in your life. You'll live longer. Take my word for it. Wow. Really clings to the roof of your mouth there. And kind of hangs in the chest like a lead balloon. Could I have a second?
Oh, certainly, you like it. I'm so flattered. I've never made coffee before. First time's the charm. Let's see how the second time goes. He disappears into the wagon.
Well, all I can say is it seems to be keeping the dust in.
He comes out stirring the second cup of coffee with a little stick that just looks like a stick until he pulls it out. You can see it's got some bristles on the end.
Is that my toothbrush?
What's that, Moz?
Bones! I'd like a word with you.
That is what we call a callback.
No, it's my new stirring stick. Toothbrush, what do you mean?
I'm gonna lean over to Jasper and say, I wouldn't finish that if I were you.
Well, I thought I had detected a subtle sousant there. I don't know, son. I've lived out on the trail in the backwoods and in the deep desert for a long time, and I've lost a lot of my particularness towards what I'm willing to ingest.
Well, I've only known Bones for a short while, and I know enough to be concerned when he sticks something that you don't know and something that should be different.
Well, I'll give it a shot, because I did order Black as Midnight on a moonless night, and this here is as black as a moonless night that is as black as coffee.
It's been a while since I've seen a dentist.
Oh, Moz, has this been in your mouth?
Was.
Well, that's going to throw off my experiments. What? I think I can adjust for it. If I just get a little bit of your saliva, I can figure out the acidity. Perhaps you can help with that, Mr. What's the pH of bicarbonate of soda?
Could you not just use a stick?
Is this stick?
You've got at least 1 billion different tiny little devices in there, and you're telling me that my toothbrush is the optimal utensil for your experiments.
I told you, I'd hook you up with a new set. I don't know what this whole brushing of teeth...
You ain't told me shit! I bought a new toothbrush in town yesterday before it got shot up!
No, a new set of teeth.
My teeth are fine where they are. And if you convince me to melt my teeth down again, I will find you.
This argument about teeth and toothbrushes and what is a proper stir continues, and eventually the last of the cattle train makes its way, and you all are free to proceed. You've lost a chunk of time waiting for this, but you'll be able to make up that time probably in the next couple of days as you travel. You make a few more hours of progress, and you're able to make camp for the night.
All right, folks, I'm going to volunteer to make dinner tonight.
You sure? You sure?
Pretty darn hard to ruin pinto beans. Got a little bit of bacon to put in them, too.
Go ahead and make a survival check for me.
All right, sir.
I don't mind making the soup again, it's okay.
Wow!
A 30.
Much better.
Nice.
Man knows how to make a mess of beans.
Yeah,
Eating good.
you all are kind of amazed at how good this meal is, like, for being on the road. This is pretty damn good. It has some cooked meat that you're not sure where Jasper got it. Maybe he hunted it while you guys weren't looking, but it tastes really good. It's fresh. It just has some seasoning. Is that some oregano on there? Where the fuck did oregano come from?
Well, we did pass that pepper plant by the way back. I don't know if you all noticed, but yeah, chop those up, put those in there.
It's all right.
Roll bluff.
Well, people got different tastes.
18. Yeah,
I'm good with that.
Most of y'all believe Myra.
Moz makes sure to get an extra portion for the sheriff.
Aww.
Now let me roll something in secret.
I will take a half ration to Carter.
He accepts the bowl and says, "I'm mighty kind of you. Don't suppose you could give me a bit of help?" He shows his shackles and kind of, "Don't suppose you have a spoon that I could use?"
Well, sure thing. As long as you promise not to kill anyone with it.
Me kill somebody with a spoon? That'd be absolutely absurd.
Don't put it past him.
You'd be surprised what a fella can do with a spoon.
You give him the meal.
I will make sure I get the spoon back.
As you're all getting around for bed, he calls out to you, Moz.
Alright. What do you want?
Got a question for you.
Go ahead.
You seem pretty handy with that fiddle there.
I know my way around a note.
You, remind me of a friend I've seen.
What kind of friend?
Kind that tried to take a shot at me after a few hands of cards.
Imagine you got a lot of friends like that.
Oh, I do. More than you know. I think you'd like him. He said that he was the best fiddle player that ever was.
There's only one of those, and you're looking right at him.
Interesting. Well, I know that gun that I carry. I won it off of him. Said that it's supposed to belong to the person who's the best player in the world. I managed to. He was down on his luck, so he was willing to make a bet for it. That's why he took shots at me after a while.
Now, how'd you end up with a gun designed for the best fiddle player in the whole world? Don't tell me you got skills.
Oh, I've got no skills. He was hard up for money and decided that he wanted to bet it in poker. His backup gun was taking some shots at me, but I reckon it's something that you should. That the best fiddle player ought to have, don't you?
I'm a little bit concerned about this here curse you've been telling me about.
What kind of curse would that be? I just like to talk big.
Well, you tell me, you're the one who brought it up.
Well, it said that if you don't use it, it'll be the gun that kills you. But that's no problem for somebody who uses it, right?
Seems like you're still here. Take it in.
I used it.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. About how long is this going to take to kick in? Hodges is looking a little itchy.
I don't know. I have to talk to him about it. But that's none of my business. I'm just a simple criminal. Ain't that right?
Well, I don't want to be too concerned about it. Either he kills himself with it or he kills you. Either way, I get what I want.
I suppose that's right.
Have a nice night.
You too. He's just gonna whistle a little tune as everybody turns in for bed. Y'all want to do the same watches?
Sure. You want a perception roll from me?
Yeah. 16. You do not notice anything out of the ordinary.
All right. I put Smokey away last night. Then I'll go up. I'll wake up Miss Myra and say, I did not see or hear anything, but feels a bit too quiet.
Oh, well, thank you, Jasper.
Jasper settles down, puts a saddlebag under his head, and for all you can tell, he just laid down and died. He just stops moving.
Excellent.
Chest is not going up and down.
Bones, what'd you put in that coffee? Other than my toothbrush.
Sorry, didn't mean to startle anyone. You ever get out there when you're camping out on the prairie and, like, you just stop breathing and there's just no sound at all and you can't hear your heart beating? Well, maybe you don't.
Can't say that I have.
I really strive not to be alone that long. It's sort of... I don't know. Bonesaw says from the wagon where he's sleeping.
Good night, folks.
Who's next on the perception?
Myra, but she was going to try to sneak into Bonesaw's wagon and shuffle around, but if he sleeps in the wagon...
Could certainly try. Sleeping characters take a massive penalty to their perception.
Okay. So she's going to try to poke around a little bit in that wagon and figure out what on earth is in there.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a stealth check and give me a perception check, Mr. Bonesaw.
Shit. Damn it.
However, because Bonesaw has a minus 10.
Oh, so I'm at a 9 and you're at an 11, so...
Oh, jeez. Oh my god.
Blake, you could just share the wagon's sheet with her.
I am going to.
Yeah, secrets.
Don't forget to add the oatmeal or whatever it was in the compartment.
There's a whole box of fresh toothbrushes here. What the hell?
Toothbrush collection.
So you enter the wagon. Bonesaw is laid in the middle on his kind of sleeping roll, mask on, but there's plenty of room to just walk around him.
Okay.
At the very back of the wagon is a big, like, mash tun and a couple of barrels, and next to that you can see a bunch of, like, liquor bottles and things. That's all of the alcohol. And in the back you can see the alchemist's wet dream part with all of the, like, ingredients, and there's shelves, and there's, like, little hooks and boxes and a little work area. It looks like a portable alchemist's lab with kind of beakers and hot plates and things. And just stored along the side are just like odds and ends. There's gear. You see a taxidermy of a frilled lizard. And you can see some like rotten teeth strung up like along the window, just like dangling. I think you'd have to go into the cupboards to find the bowl of soup.
Yeah. Give us a perception check.
Okay. Basically whatever you're willing to allow Myra to discover.
I think you can read all of the labels. So, like, anything on here, unfortunately, you didn't get high enough to find the secret space.
Okay.
It is a bit of a mess in here, but it has that organized mess feel about it.
Okay.
You do open one of the drawers and see the bowl of soup just sitting there. Some is sloshed out from just the bumps in the road. It's starting to smell a little bad, a little rank.
For later.
She's gonna take like a swab of the finger of the soup, and then she's gonna go outside and wipe it on either a bush or something, just to see what it does.
Okay. Just with the finger swipe, nothing seems to happen. You did notice there were some big chunks that were kind of resting in there that you didn't really have access to, like kind of meaty chunks.
Okay. Myra makes sure to clean her finger off and then finishes her watch and then goes to bed.
Okay. I'm not going to have you roll a perception check because you were a little bit busy during your watch.
I was busy.
Moz, give me a perception check. 14. You do not see anything in particular, Moz.
Okay.
It's a quiet night. You hear an owl hooting off in the distance. You see a small scorpion, like, across the ground.
Got it.
And then Bonesaw, as the sun begins to peek over the horizon,
28.
you see off in the distance a single cow that apparently got lost. Just...
Would it be easy to catch? That would be good eating.
Free food!
You could probably catch it if you wanted to try.
I would love to try.
Okay.
Solve our dinner problem.
Avery is standing there as well. He has taken the same shift as you.
I'm going to go get that cow.
Can take my horse if you want.
Oh, actually, I think I have a better idea. Bonesaw cracks his knuckles, kind of does his head like that, and then pulls out one of his little vials, and the green light sort of dribbles into it, and he pulls the mask up just a little bit to drink it, and under the neck scarf, something starts to rustle and shift. And a little fleshy blob detaches itself and crawls out on his shoulder, and it's glowing green.
I'm sorry, what?
That's pretty much exactly what Hodges says. It's like, what in the ever-loving hells is that?
Oh, hush, 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 I'm catching a cow.
Haven't you ever caught a cow before?
It is this mass of flesh that looks like it is just this roiling pink flesh. There's some feathers that are sticking out of it, and it has kind of loose skin hanging off of its appendages. It is horrific to look at.
I have imbued Goita with inflict moderate wounds. Can he go latch onto the cow and just kill it for me?
Yeah, yes. He chases after the cow.
Flip, 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 flip.
Roll an attack for him.
Oh, it only does 9 damage. I rolled 2 ones.
Oof. Ouch, that is bad. The cow gives a startled roar and starts charging even faster away.
Away!
Yes.
Damn!
How unexpected.
It's one way of hunting.
You see this stream of blood coming off of it as the inflicted wounds open up on its side. It is not bleeding out, but it is definitely... You could track it if you want to roll a survival check.
Is it going northward?
Kind of northeastward. You guys are more going like straight north with a bend to the northwest from what your map showed you.
Bonesaw's not great in the wilderness, so I think he's just gonna be like, oh, damn. Well, perhaps when the others get up, someone will want to follow it, or maybe it won't get that far.
Well, congratulations. You wasted a spell. Good job.
Oh, I'm about to make more.
I would not piss off Bonesaw right now. If the fucking appendage comes out of his neck, you do not want to be shooting any sort of shit in that direction.
Yeah, Goiter comes back, crawls up under the scarf, and reattaches.
Eventually, everybody wakes up, and it's time for another day. Somebody give me another 1d100 roll.
42.
42. Let me find that on my list.
Is that a trail of blood?
I was trying to catch a cow. It didn't exactly work.
You all begin making your way north. Once again, about midday, you begin to see something on the ground. You've been kind of transitioning out of the low scrub desert area into kind of the higher plains, but as you continue going, all of a sudden, the desert almost seems to explode with vibrant grasses, and in front of you, almost blocking out the trail completely, is this massive verdant field of prairie grasses and low scrub bushes, and you actually even see some trees in the distance. You see animals running around that you haven't noticed before. Foxes, you see some coyotes, you hear owls hooting in the daytime.
Hey, are we near, some water? Is there a river nearby? Lake, maybe?
Jasper, give me a survival check.
Alrighty. 30.
Nice.
Fantastic. With that, you know that while this area does have a river running through it, all of this, it's too lush for this area. This area normally is much more dry, and the transition to this kind of area should be another day or two north from where you're at right now.
Alright, you see Jasper, he kneels down on the ground. He digs his fingers through the soil for a minute, kind of rolls it between his fingers and shakes it off. Looks at some of the plants, looks at some of the roots that he's pulled up in the dirt, says, "This here is not a natural landscape. I would like to get some more information. Could I possibly make, say, like a knowledge nature or arcana check?"
Yeah, you can do both.
Here comes the nature. It's going to be a lot better than the arcana, probably.
Anybody can roll whatever checks they want on the area. I think with a 20 knowledge nature, Jasper, you can tell that all of these plants are natural plants. They don't appear to be necessarily inherently magical, but as you're looking, you see that the soil that they're in is much richer and cultivated than you would expect for this area. It's almost like this area has undergone some sort of change to give it the ability to grow this life. And what's more, it's growing over the track, it's growing kind of willy-nilly, and it seems like new growth.
We'll say, well, this has obscured the trail, and I have not heard any tales of this going on. And this growth is new and exceedingly large for this area. Something is going on here. This is not only not natural, this is the doing of some folk. I think it might be a good idea to reconnoiter.
Bonesaw, with a 20 arcana, you step forward towards kind of right where this edge of the grass is, and you pull out some of your reagents, just some of the basic stuff that you use to create sparks, and you put it in a vial and you toss it. And as soon as you do, the vial goes, it starts spinning really fast in the air.
Ooh!
It appears that this area in front of you is a wild magic zone.
Well, I think we're in a wild magic zone.
Oh no. Bonesaw, you sound a little too happy about that.
What is general knowledge about wild magic zones?
This is where odd things happen. Generally, a lot more of these started cropping up after the Kane County Railroad Wars. That's general knowledge, is that wild magic started cropping up. They're generally unpredictable. They make any magic that's cast in them have very strange effects. It can warp different natural magics that occur in the area, and it can make travel difficult because it can have a strange effect on anything living in the area. They generally are fixed features. However, there are new ones that appear over time, kind of aftershocks, and they can grow in size, shrink in size, wax and wane in strength. It's difficult to map all of them because of a lot of this, and not much effort has been put into finding anything more than like the big danger ones. And this one hasn't appeared on any maps from y'all's knowledge. I'm going to say Bonesaw is able to explain some of this.
Well, Mr. Bonesaw, you seem most knowledgeable about this here phenomenon. What can we expect to happen if we pass through?
Oh, I dabble a bit, but I don't think that it'll affect us much unless you're using magic. So, I suppose just... well, I don't know. Is your fiddle magical, Mozzie?
It might be a little bit magical. Do we gotta be concerned about them ugly-looking things in the bushes?
The what?
Guess not. Alright, let's move on.
Whoa, you what things?
Everybody make a perception check.
I love this. 27.
Woo!
Damn, Jasper!
30.
19.
All three of you. You do not see anything in the bushes around you. Basically, when Moz says this, you all go into like boom, 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 checking mode. Avery is on edge. He has his gun cocked and ready just in case, making sure. You spend a few beats just listening quietly. You don't hear anything. You don't see anything. You don't see these creatures. The most you see is on a mesquite tree that's just on the other side of the edge. You see what looks like a barn owl perched on one of the branches, just woo, 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 looking at all y'all.
Well, all right. If we're going to be traveling through here, I'm going to make a change in the loadout of my revolvers to where they are using entirely non-magical ammunition. Adamantine, I assume, is non-magical.
It is non-magical. It is expensive.
Right. I've got my loadout written, but I'll keep the adamantine where it is and change out everything else.
Out of character, can I ask if during the month I've been traveling with Moz, we've had similar experiences where he's sort of like seen something, but I haven't seen it either?
I'd say that he's definitely more on the skittish side, so he is overly cautious, I'd say.
Okay.
Just trying to cover all of his bases at all times, when possible.
Okay. I don't think we need to worry about it, Moz. It looks fine to me.
You say so.
Do you think that anybody could be lying in wait in there?
I wouldn't think it's out of the question.
Well then, I think I need to get a little bit of a closer handle on this. And he gets off of his horse, and he climbs onto Carter's back. And pulls out the rifle and just holds it right against the back of his skull, and he says, "Why don't you giddy up there?" Carter, for the first time that you've seen him, gets just this dark look on his face, and he says, "Avery, get the hell off me."
That ain't right.
Or what? What are you going to do? Buck me off? Put a bullet through your skull before you do that. All right. Fine. I suppose there's not much I can do as a prisoner. Carter has this entire attitude change at this point. He's lost a good bit of the bravado. And you all start making your way forward into this area of wild magic. As you step forward, you all immediately feel this tingle across your skin as this magic begins to suffuse you. But you're also taken with how beautiful and how good all of this area smells. Even the zombies with a bit of their muted senses can feel this perfume coming out of these plants as you begin to make your way north. You all travel for a distance. You do not have a track to follow. I need survival checks just from one person, whoever's going to take lead on this.
I have 13 ranks in survival, unless somebody wants to. I suggest myself.
All yours.
Please.
Okay.
Bonesaw just knows the direction is forward, so he just keeps cheerily going on. I seem to have lost the track, but this looks right.
Slow yourself down. I'm going to be walking alongside.
Oh, all right.
I need to get a feel for the land through my boots.
With a 29, you're able to track the sun. The mountains are still enough at your west that you're able to keep a good sense of your direction as you begin to make your way north. Actually, I should be making these checks for you in secret, I believe. You said you have a plus 13, Jasper?
Yes.
Okay. Another hour passes. Everybody give me a perception check.
25?
26.
10.
And then a 27. Okay. Everybody who rolled above a 25, you notice that owl that you saw when you first entered has been keeping a pace of you guys.
Jasper? You see that?
Yeah, I noticed. I'm trying not to look directly at it. Now, I don't want to make any predictions here, and I do not know how possible this is, but that Kitsune lady, the one with the dynamite and the snakes, so you've told me, I did notice that she had the ability to either change her shape or cast an illusion about herself. I don't know if that extends as far as becoming an owl, and it seems to me be a mite dangerous to do in a wild magic area. But I'm going to try and take a surreptitious glance at the owl and see if I can discern anything about it. Is it mechanical, unnatural? Does it glow? Does it have a gun?
Give me knowledge planes.
Knowledge planes, wow.
Something about this owl strikes a chord in your brain. It seems like whatever is causing this owl, it's related to the wild magic of this area. And it's tickling the back of your head. You're not quite sure what it is. As you're studying this and looking at it, the owl flies away out of sight.
I'll turn to Myra and say, I can't rightly say, but that owl just puts me on edge.
Flew away.
This area we're walking through has something to do with the existence or appearance of that there critter. I do not rightly know what might be going on.
Myra's gonna look around for another supposed critter that might be watching them.
I would also like to mark the direction that the owl flew in.
Okay. Myra, I'll carry that perception forward. You see a deer in the distance that is just grazing. You see some coyotes running around. What appears to be just some squirrels running around on the ground, which is a bit odd. This is pretty arid land for squirrels, but nothing necessarily appears to be watching you. You all travel another hour. Is everybody in essentially the same locations that they were before?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes. Oh, and just in case it is important, since this is a wild magic zone, given the time of day, I likely have an active spell upon myself.
Ah, that is right.
I have Cloak of Shadow upon me, which I think is just the way it generally looks. Is for a regular cowboy-size hat, it seems to be casting an awful lot of dark shade about him.
Roll 1d100 for me, please.
I will do that.
Oh.
Oh no.
I did not like the sound of that there laughter.
You all look, and that hat has been keeping you in deep shadow for most of the day.
Yeah.
One of the times when you take the hat off and wipe your brow, everybody make a perception check.
For those keeping score, that's wiping the dust off my brow.
Myra and Bonesaw and Moz, you don't see Jasper.
Does he just disappear spontaneously, or did we just lose sight of him?
He's
or
gone. You don't see him at all.
Have we seen him walking alongside us for some...
You saw him on top for most of the day, and you all simultaneously realize at this time he's not there in kind of this third hour, because he's also been helping you. He's been guiding you, so he's been talking throughout the day.
Jasper? Jasper!
Yeah?
What? Where'd you go?
I haven't gone anywhere.
You're invisible.
You all right? Something wrong with your eyes there?
Oh, must be, because I can't see you.
Tell me, how many fingers am I holding up?
I can't see you or your fingers or your face or your hat. Where'd you go?
I am right here. I do not think that I have discorporated and become a ghost.
Myra throws a small pebble in that direction.
Well, that would be... Ow!
Question. Can Moz smell him?
Yes, Moz can definitely smell him.
Okay.
Huh.
Well, you stink still here, so I suppose you still are as well.
Well, it's good to know I still have one of them there things.
Can you manage not to get lost, or should we tie you to the cart?
No, I can see you folks just fine. How long have I been gone to you?
I wasn't really paying attention, actually.
Let me check my notebook. Jasper sightings.
Well, I hope that condition's not permanent.
If it makes a difference, I will have replaced my hat by now.
At this point, you all see what appears to be the shadow of the hat, but Jasper seems to be invisible.
Well, that's kind of nifty.
Yeah, but I sure hope this only lasts as long as this wild magic zone lasts.
You ought to join our next performing act. That's one hell of a trick.
Yeah, but it's going to make it hard to order, like, a finger of whiskey in the saloon or something.
I'm sure that Bones will compensate you handsomely.
Of course, I suppose a fella could just go ahead and get himself a finger of whiskey and none would be the wiser.
Jasper!
But that would be illegal.
Now you're thinking like a performer.
Hodges gives you this deadly glare from the back of Carter.
He gives me a glare?
Yeah, how?
He glares in the general direction that he's hearing sound from and says, not going to hear any talk about stealing, am I?
I just now said it would be illegal, sir.
That's right. As you continue walking, everybody who is on or near the cart begin to hear the wind begins to pick up, and it's gentle at first and is kind of whistling in your ears, and then suddenly you all begin to hear, "Turn around. This is not your land. You are intruders on protected and hallowed ground.
Bonesaw tosses the reins to Myra and says, It's Alonesaw time for Bonesaw. I'm going in the cart. And he goes and gets in the cart and slams the door behind him.
What? Bonesaw!
You want to run that by me again, Sheriff?
What language was that?
It was in English.
Okay.
What the flying fig?
What's going on?
Didn't you hear that?
Hear what?
Jesus. Her whispers.
Oh, good, it wasn't just me. So,
All of the wind, the airflow, immediately dies.
Hallowed to whom?
There's no response.
well, I'm sure it's just the wind, and it's gone now, so I say we push forward.
Well, I don't recognize the authority the wind has over me, so I am with you.
What's it gonna do, blow on us? We're gonna push on forward.
Oh, now, don't go tempting fate now. What's the worst that could happen?
We already been delayed too damn long.
At least it ain't raining.
I'm getting tired of walking. My little feet can't handle it.
It's starting to get later in the day. It's about 3 o'clock at this point.
All right, at 4 o'clock, my spell will end.
Okay. As the next hour passes, the spell fades, and all of a sudden you see Jasper pops back into visibility.
Ah, there you are.
I'm visible again? Well, I'll stop picking my nose.
It's almost pleasant forgetting your existence.
Well, that's kind of hurtful. I never said nothing but a nice thing about you, sir.
Well, you did insult my fiddle playing before you heard it.
I do not think I did. I think I took a nice bow to you. I've always said you have a $10 voice inside of 50 cents worth of rat folk.
That was after I put you in your place.
Bonesaw will reemerge at some point.
Welcome back, Bones.
Oh, thank you.
You missed all the fun.
I'm sure we'll make more.
As you all get closer and you're continuing forward, as far as you can tell, Jasper, you are on track. You've been making good headway because you have a fucking plus 13, which is awesome.
Ranger!
All of a sudden, you guys see, kind of out of the grass, this massive sinkhole right smack dab in your path. It's honestly kind of shocking how quickly it opened up. It looks like it just dropped out of the ground in front of you.
Whoa there. I say to the horses pulling the cart.
Oh, yes, probably a good idea.
All right, hold on there. I'm going to sneak forward and take a look over the edge. How deep is this sinkhole?
It looks about 30 feet deep, from what you can tell, and it's 30 feet wide.
Kind of makes a fella want to spit. Wish I could. Well, it's ain't so deep as a well. It's wider than a church door. I reckon we should go around.
Solid assessment.
but maybe not all at once.
Right on. Probably not the cart first.
No, that probably would not be a good idea. You are on the cart. Moz or Myra, you want to take one direction, I'll take the other, and we'll reconnoiter on the other side.
All right.
I'll go ahead. Tumble's not likely to shake most of this loose.
All right.
I'll go left.
I'll go right.
Myra will go with Moz.
How close are you getting to the edge?
Myra's giving a good distance.
10 feet?
I'll be about 5 feet.
I'm 15. He's giving it a wide berth.
I will, however, draw my pistol. I will fill my hand.
All right. As Myra and Moz start to approach around the left edge, all of a sudden, the weeds and the grass begin to grow and wrap around your legs and start grasping at your horse's hooves.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
You can make a reflex save. Just your horses, if you're riding your horses.
I'm riding my horse. My nameless horse.
Ooh,
18, that's enough.
add a girl tumble.
24, oh wow, fantastic. Yeah, both of your horses rear up in surprise and shock, and they are able to start to make their way back. The area in front of you see is just this roiling mass of plants and undergrowth.
Go back! Go back! Go back! We pissed something off. Moz, are you still seeing those faces?
What faces?
Didn't you say you saw some faces a while ago?
I don't know what you're talking about, Myra. Think this heat's gotten your head in a tizzy.
Does he not remember? Sense motive.
Unless that's not Moz.
17. Roll the appropriate check, Moz. If you're bluffing or if you're diplomatizing.
Okay.
You just got a nat 20.
Damn it.
Yeah, you don't know. Jasper,
Yes, sir.
give me a perception check.
29.
Awesome. Now give me a will save.
Oh, dear. 21.
Oh. The DC was 20. Ooh. You look out, you're kind of glancing over at where Myra and Moz are, and something catches the corner of your eye. It's a pair of jackrabbits that are bounding through the grass, and suddenly you see them bound forward out over the hole in the ground. And then they land and are just standing there in the air. And as you look at this, it starts to suddenly click. As you look, you start to see the small imperfections, the problems. You realize that this giant hole is an illusion.
Weird. But it would seem logical, however, that it is some sort of mental illusion, since the jackrabbits seem unaffected. I do not know what to do with this knowledge. I'm going to walk back.
Hodges says, "All right, do we go around the right side? What's the plan?"
Walking back to the others who are still at the beginning of the sinkhole, I say, This here sinkhole, this is an illusion. This exists only in our minds.
Oh.
Everybody, he seems crazy. It looks real.
Are you sure, old chap?
What are you talking about, son? You sound crazy.
Hell, I'll demonstrate for you. I'm going to walk out on it.
Oh, you shadow. Don't think that's a good
Make
idea.
a reflex save.
Oh, dear.
Leave Smokey behind.
19.
Everybody make a will save for me.
19.
21.
21 for me.
Bonesaw, Moz, and Myra, as soon as you see Jasper step out, he trips over a gopher hole that was right in the middle, but he catches himself. And in doing so, all of a sudden this terrain, it suddenly flattens out, and it looks like a really crappy perspective drawing that, like, if you're not looking at it just the right angle, it snaps and it just looks normal. This is clearly some sort of illusion. Hodges and Carter both look like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Carter's like, you don't expect me to go walking across. I'm not going to submit myself to some sort of death in the middle of the woods here.
Quit your belly aching and walk forward. It's just an illusion.
You don't trust Jasper? Our esteemed tracker? I wouldn't doubt him even for a moment.
He did just trip and fall.
I'm all right. I'm just fine. I'm standing right over here. I'm going to jump up and down in place.
I assume since the jackrabbits were fine, the horses are probably fine if Bonesaw tells them to go forward.
Yeah, you'll be able to continue forward. You start taking the path out. Carter, who's walking across this, he takes his first step very tentatively, and then suddenly his eyes open in surprise. He says, I'll be the son of a mare. That's clever. I gotta remember this one. And he starts walking. Hodges just looks like... He doesn't look afraid, but his hands are, like, tight on the gun. Very, very nervous. You all cross this terrain and go for another hour. How's everybody feeling at this point?
I'm good.
A little spooked.
I would say that's accurate.
Myra's giving side eyes to Moz. Well, not Myra. Corinne is giving side eyes to Moz.
Moz is very much unfazed.
About every 5 to 10 minutes or so, Jasper will stop in place and just kind of like do a careful 360. That owl is probably lurking about somewhere still.
In fact, after this next hour, you see the owl in the distance flying by.
Here's the owl again.
It is getting late for this time of year. I do not wish to camp inside this area, so I think we need to press on later than we normally would.
I think so too.
I agree, but I also don't want to go forward in the dark too much.
Well, most of us can see to some degree. Anybody have any kind of magical light by which our horses could navigate?
Do we want to risk magic?
That's the wild magic.
Oh, that's true.
I have torches!
You have torches. Well, heck.
I have a few too.
Why did you not list those amongst our assets in the first place? You wouldn't happen to have a Holocaust cloak on you, would you?
You didn't see them when you were sitting up top. That's alright. Bonesaw will get down a few torches.
Well, I don't go prying around in other people's belongings. That wouldn't be right.
Oh, I don't mind. You can look around inside, too. I've got nothing to hide. Bonesaw will set up a few torches, kind of on either side of the cart, so they light the area around us.
The sun is starting to set. You are still continuing on without any sign of it ending.
Before the sun sets, I would like to climb up top of the wagon to see as far as I could possibly see while there's still some daylight, and see if I can see an edge to this thing.
Give me a perception check.
All right. 31.
You do not see anything other than this verdant field in all directions. It looks like it just keeps going and going and going for as far as you can see.
All right, I'll call down. I do not see an edge from up here, but that could be just an effect of being inside, so to speak. For all we know, we could be a mere 10 feet from the edge. But from this here vantage point, nope, looks like it goes on till the ends of the earth and beyond.
Well, we're going to have to sleep eventually, unless we want to sort of take shifts, different people riding the wagon and others sleeping inside, perhaps.
No, you'd drive your horses to death.
Shall we camp?
No, I think you're right. I think we're going to have to.
Ah, damn it.
All right, if any of you use any magical defenses or warnings or anything like that, I would strongly suggest thinking twice.
Could you set any kind of snare to warn us around the camp? Do you know how to do that?
Well, that's a right clever idea. I think I got a few ideas. You got some clinking type stuff in that there traveling home of yours? Pots, pans, things like that?
Yeah, Bonesaw will pull out some cookware, some rope. He'll hand it off to you. He'll also pull out a big bear trap.
We're gonna catch that owl.
I set an owl trap out there. Yeah, I will do my best. I mean, I can't really, give us too much warning, but I can, however, try and string across the most likely points of ingress around our camp. If you got string and such, I'll set up some jangling notices. If you want me to roll a craft traps, I will.
Yes, please.
20.
Nice. You managed to string up some good protective areas around as you all begin to set up camp. The sun goes down and you hear crickets chirping and the sounds of a prairie. And suddenly, in the middle of the night, when everything should be making noise and running around, it suddenly goes dead quiet. This is in the middle of Myra's shift.
I have dark vision. Don't get near me.
You don't see anything. And then, off in the distance, you hear a blood-curdling scream.
Dust and Blood is a Rolling Path production featuring Corinne Hill as Myra Sting, Blake Alfson as our GM, Zach Parker as Moz Copernicus Pryor, Keith Curtis as Jasper Graves, and myself, Gail Parker as Bonesaw. Our theme song is Dust and Blood by Arne Parrott, and other music throughout this recording is provided by Kevin Macleod, Tabletop Audio, Dark Fantasy Studios, and the Desperados 3 original game soundtrack by Filippo Beck Peccoz. Special thanks to Liam Ward of LearnTheHarmonica.com, who let us use his recording of Streets of Laredo. We are so thankful for the support of our fans. People like Lego Queen BB, Rain, Sleeve McDykel, and Hyland. Transcripts, detailed sound credits, and more can be found on our website at dustandbloodpod.com. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Dust and Blood Pod, or support us through our Patreon at Dust and Blood, where you can join our community Discord and get perks like our behind-the-scenes discussion show, The Roundup. Content warnings can be found in every episode description, and we hope you enjoy exploring this fantasy western with us. Thanks for listening.
My eyes shoot open to the early morning sun. I feel that aching, pounding, poking of a bullet in my lungs. Skinny ceiling, bones crunching. I feel that wretched ancient something drag me up to face that coward son of a gun. His face grows white as he fumbles for his holster. I feel the lead pierce my shoulder, neck, and chest. I scream that I have died 100 times and lived 1,000 years, and I'll be damned if a boy like you's gonna be the best. Yes, I'll be damned if a boy like you is gonna be the best.
Bonesaw was sleeping with mask on, just like on his back.
Yeah. Mandalorian rules.
This is the Y. And I will not attempt to speak Spanish because in real life I know very little Spanish.
I have Google Translate up right over here.
If these were French-speaking centaurs.
If they were German-speaking centaurs, I would be in good shape then.
Bring out the Chinese centaurs, Blake.
The one speaking a dead language, speaking Latin.
Bonjour, homme de chevaux.